All right, you probably saw yesterday here on the channel, you heard about it for a couple of days. Yesterday was a day when they were going to have the Million Vets March on Washington, D.C. They would convene at the World War II Memorial that on October 1st was shut down by the National Park Service. As the veterans approached the barricades, and they had barricades around this open-air memorial to keep people out, the barricades were hooked with little plastic ties, and somebody there had some tin snips, snapped them, and started carrying off the barricades.
It's fantastic that that actually happened, and they have a lot to be cutting up barricades about. I mean, 3.8 million veterans apparently right now standing to lose their disability benefits or have them put on delay if indeed we're in a shutdown, right? So everyone was fired up. Certainly Ted Cruz and Sarah Palin, who were at the memorials yesterday. You guys saw them.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
It is indefensible that the Obama administration has spent money to erect barricades to shut down our memorials and to keep our veterans out. And I call upon President Obama and the Democrats to stop holding our veterans hostage.
You look around, though, and you see these barricades, and you have to ask yourself, is this any way that a commander-in-chief would show his respect, his gratitude to our military? Our vets have proven that they have not been timid, so we will not be timid in calling out any who would use our military, our vets, as pawns.
You know, the White House likes to maximize the pain during these two shutouts. We saw it last year, and we're seeing it again this year, using more manpower to shut down them than they would to actually secure them. And that's where these people, they allowed the veterans to mobilize against them. So the White House, who had all the momentum in their corner, seemed to have lost it when it came to shutting down all these sites. And you got proof in that, and the fact is they have allowed states to open them up if you want to. So Governor Cuomo says, I'll write the check. We're going to open up the Statue of Liberty and look for parks around the country to be opened up. But, of course, states have to pay for them.
Yeah, well, the New York State's only going to pay for the Statue of Liberty for 6 days. They think it's going to be open. So we told you that they came and they saw the barricades, and they were all attached, and they used the tin snips. And if initially they just piled them up. But eventually somebody got the idea, hey, let's take them over to the White House. We've got an image off of Twitter of, you can see right here, a veteran, paraplegic, on a Segway helping carry a barricade, as you can see right there, toward the White House, where they stacked them up. That was on Twitter yesterday. It was retweeted over 1,000 times. We thought we'd share it with you.
When you first saw it, you actually thought he was next to a fence, but then you
Right.
look close and you see he's actually carrying that over there. And I mean, the last time, also to remind everybody, and I forgot this too, I mean, in 1996, the last time we were facing a shutdown, it was a time of peace. So we have a ton, millions of vets coming in. We have veterans returning from Afghanistan, probably an influx of those returning here, hoping that'll be better here than where they are. Right.
And,
So
and remember
fired up.
Remember what motivated this particular action over the weekend, and that was they were veterans were really upset with the fact that they would barricade off the World War II Memorial for those honor flights, and we showed you those images over the last 10 days, and also furious with the fact that for our active military, they have been denied death benefits because of the shutdown.
All right, let's talk about the shutdown, because we thought we had a deal on Friday. It looked like the House was coming up with something. And in the backdrop, you heard, well, Susan Collins, who's working with two other female Republican senators, Murkowski as well as Ayotte, working on a deal that they thought was a pretty good deal. Funding for the government for 6 months, increasing the federal debt limit through January, keeping spending levels at where they are, a 2-year delay on the medical device tax, and requiring income verification for Americans seeking subsidies for Obamacare. So they thought they were moving in the right direction. One of our guests coming up shortly, Senator Joe Manchin, said, I could sign on to this. Senator Klobuchar, a Democrat, said, this looks pretty good. And all of a sudden, things started moving on a fast track. And then something happened on Saturday. It all fell apart. So the deal that was almost there in the House on Friday, the Senate deal that was so optimistic on Saturday, it ended up blowing up because, and I don't think there's any doubt about this, that poll on Saturday from the Wall Street Journal that showed that Republicans were losing big time in the court of public opinion gave the White House and Senator Reid, who's been really militant about this, felt like the wind's at their back. Let's go for the kill. I have an idea. Let's get rid of all the spending caps we agreed on from 2 years ago, and let's really try for the win. There's no way that would fly. Just goes to show you Democrats believe there's success in failure this week.
Yeah, you might be right on point with that. I mean, some would argue that the president is one of the public polling, right? So he will react to the polling and then make adjustments, except
Sure.
when it's votes.
Well, the Republicans have been very clear. Look, this is the sequester has led to 2 years of back-to-back spending reductions, first time since the Korean War. We're not budging on this. Here is Senator Rand Paul on the sequester versus Obamacare.
I think the one thing I cannot accept, and the one thing that I think is really not even a compromise at all, is the Democrats want to exceed the sequester caps, these things that we put into law to restrain spending already. And it's funny, they're all about Obamacare being the law of the land, but so's the sequester. The sequester is the law of the land, and if we exceed that, it's a real big step in the wrong direction.
Want to unite Republicans, you go say throw out sequester. So anybody who's a moderate or a Tea Party member, they all agree.
Sure.
Let's not throw up where we started in order to allow the president to get what he wanted.
You're saying avoiding another overreach, right?
Yeah,
Perhaps.
if you thought the House was an overreach in trying to defund Obamacare, this is an example of a Democratic overreach.
So all you need to know is this morning they are at loggerheads, and Thursday is coming. Senator Joe Manchin's going to be joining us on Fox and Friends at 7:20 Eastern Time. In the meantime, it is Columbus Day, and Heather.